Converted man here. Types of dialogue. Erratic. This is one of many types of dialogue, and I've done a video covering in brief all the different types of dialogue, but in this one I want to focus on the erratic type of dialogue. This is the one that makes the least amount of sense that we do as humans, and yet we do it all the time. We yell at our kids. We tell them that they're no good. We yell at the air, or yell at God, or I don't know, maybe he's just really hungry. And we swear at each other. Like we say, ass, you're an ass, you're this, you're that. What's the deal with all the swear words being related to bodily functions or body parts? Anyway, so yeah, you're a loser, but here's this cute bunny. That's a weird insult. But why? Why do we do this? Why do we engage in this type of dialogue? Okay, so it's a personal conflict, and the methodology is to verbally hit out my opponent. But the goal is to reveal the deeper basis of conflict. That goal will probably not be reached by the method, making this a pointless endeavor. Why do we do it? It doesn't make any coherent sense. Why do we yell or insult or call each other names? Why do we do that? Well, you could just say emotions. Yeah, that's an answer, but it's not the deep answer that we're trying to get here. So, somebody asks you to take out the trash and you say no, and then all of a sudden you're bringing up things from years ago that have bothered you, and they're talking about your mom and you're talking about their father, and you're just letting each other have it. And why? Well, maybe because the act of taking out the trash symbolized something more, responsibility, and for whatever reason in this instance they feel like you're not taking responsibility of something that's supposed to be your area of responsibility, and that makes them feel uneasy. And if you won't take responsibility for this small thing, maybe you won't take responsibility for the larger things. And it seems rather silly, but that might be what's going on, and we don't know unless we ask them. And sometimes asking people, even then, they don't know why something's bothering you. What's bothering you? I don't know. Something's bothering you. No, nothing's bothering me. It's like, all right, okay, if you need to talk. I don't need to talk to anyone. And why do we do that? We isolate ourselves from getting to the core of what's upsetting or irritating us. Don't get me wrong. There's good times to be alone and let your emotions out, and let go of that anger so that you can be civil again. But why do we like to stew? Oh, I'm so mad at the thing that happened that one time, and I didn't say anything, but man, I really wanted to. And it's just, you ball it up and you push it down, and you push it down, and then one day it comes out, and you're shouting and you're throwing things, and it's a mess. Adults become like children, yelling and throwing temper tantrums at each other. Why? Well, it depends on the people involved. Remember, this is a personal conflict, meaning that you know that person at some level, right? Well, no. It's more like you see something in them that might remind you of yourself, or that they are another person that represents people that have led up to this moment. I'll go over one of my stories from my past to kind of try to illustrate. I'd had a horrible day. I don't know why. It just was in that mood. It's just I want to not have people tell me what to do anymore. I'd felt bossed around that day. I don't know. And so I went to this place where you could relax, hypothetically. And then the person said, you need to not do this thing. And it was like, I'm not really, it's like, you're not supposed to eat in this one room of this area. And I was like, well, not really eating in that area. I'm like halfway in that area. Technically I'm not in the area. I'm halfway in the area. So why not just leave me alone, let me deal with my stuff here? And they just kept coming back and kept piling it on. And so I was like, oh, okay, fine, I'm leaving. And why don't you go ahead and bite me? Now, it wasn't a very good idea to do. It was not handled by me very well, and you could argue that it might have not been handled that well by them, but nonetheless, here we have an erratic dialogue, but it's one-sided. I was upset and I'd had a bad day, and rather than just saying to the person, look, I've had a really rough day, I just want to be left alone right now, and I know I'm technically breaking the rule, but maybe you can just gloss over it this one time because I've had a bad day and I don't want to deal with it and I just want to, be for a moment, okay? Maybe something like that. Now, if they didn't allow me to do that, look, the rules are the rules, kind of thing, then what? Well, I might have still gone the erratic dialogue that I was in the mood for. So it's not always clear that leveling up your conversation will get you out of that emotional state. But it certainly would have been better to have done it that way. I'm sure you can all think of different times in life where you've said or written something that you find to be an insult later on. Like you looking at it, you're like, wow, I was really upset and I really let that person have it. I really said that thing. I can't believe I said that. I really wrote that thing. I can't believe I wrote that. There's no undoing that. There's no taking it back. And I just feel awful. And all you can do is express that. And it's like, well, yeah, but you already said that thing, so I'm not going to forgive you, But let's try to set that aside and get to the bottom of what's going on. And doing that requires critical analysis of your own self, your own thoughts and memories and what you know of this person and what could it be that this issue is really about. What is the core of this issue? Now, you might not be able to figure that out, nor might they be able to figure it out. And so you might have a mystery. What do you do with that? Well, I think that the only thing we could do at that point would be to say, look, I don't know why this has become such a thing. You don't seem to know why. We don't know why. Let's forgive each other on this. Let's get along on this. Let's, we tried our best to deal with it and we couldn't figure it out. Let's move on. Now, that doesn't mean the topic won't come up again, and don't make promises you can't keep, because that too will become another thing later on. So know that you both could potentially come up with this topic again and say, look, if we come up with this topic again, we'll try to remember that there isn't a solution to it and just say, okay, we're not going to solve this. Let's let it be. And let the topic be. And walk away metaphorically from that topic. Because to do otherwise would create this unsolvable tension between you, and that's not something that you want to do. Ideally, it would be great to get to the bottom of these things, but sometimes it's just not possible. Of course, you could, if this is a significant other, go to counseling, and there it might become exposed, but then again, other things might be, and that might actually be a good thing. I kind of wonder why people that aren't having any problems at all don't go to counseling just to maintain that level of, happiness with each other. Both individual counseling and together counseling with the same counselor, so that that person is aware of them at those different levels and can help them at whatever different level they are having in that relationship, so that they can be a strong couple together. But, most of what we do doesn't make sense. Let's face it. And there's the lobster picture. Okay, that's great. That's a way to end this video. So think about this, and think about the lobster, and